tutorial is not going to be about any modeling or in specific modeling tool or something like that. The video is going to about the tools that are present in edit mode, which we use actually, but we don't use it to full potential. We just control R, and we are so familiar with these shortcuts now that we only use these tools, but we also forget the other tools that are present in this library set here. So as you can see, there are so many tools here, and we are going to look at this one by one. Start with the first tool, select box, and this is a very basic tool. You can make a selection in a square or a rectangular phase. Everyone knows that, but there are so many options in here. You can also make a circle selection. See, and now you can't see this much, like you know but once let me by the way, shortcut for this is you can just click on W and you can see. Okay, now let's add some edge loops, and I'll tell you why it's one of my favorite actually. Make a circle selection, then you increase your radius, and you can easily select something like this. It's like a brush tool, and we can make a selection on basis of this circle selection. So that is one of it. Also, you get a lasso tool. So lasso tool is my personal favorite. You actually get to choose what and exactly vertices you want. So just draw some shape or something like that which you want to have, or which you want to delete or extrude or something like that. And it is really great tool, really one of the great tools, selection tools I have come across so far. So this is it. Send in the cube. Tweak is not too much you can do with it. You can just it is same as having a selection box tool, or it just helps you to select any vertices or lines. That's it. Another tool, but not exactly tool, is this setting the cursor location. And you might wonder why this is here. It should be in the object mode, but I'll tell you why. If you're editing, if you're adding more geometry into your uh, in your own uh, in the same object, if you want to add more geometry and if you want to align it to somewhere, you can just click on that part and see how it snaps right on that space. And from there you can just create some extra geometry. See, it is one of the good tools. So next thing is move. This is pretty much self-explanatory, so I won't go into this. One more thing I want to talk to you about is we know how we use scale, right? I mean S and Z, or we can use this thing. What if we want to scale something uniformly, or like, let me like scale it as in collection. You can say we can do it right, something like this. But there is another way. You can just go and select this scale gauge, and then it will create a gauge on those both of the selected items. Now you can just scale accordingly. So you can see that when you're pulling the some particular line, the exact opposite line towards it, I mean if you're scaling on the upper line, you can see the lower line automatically becomes a pivot, and that's how you can get a very see precise scaling or proper scaling. This is one of the great tools, and it actually helps great with efficiency. If if for example think this of as a there is a wall here and you want to scale your stairs accordingly, so you can just snap this part to the wall, and you can then just align it properly as per your maps. So that is really great. And so let's move to the next one. Still vertices. Let's create a cube. Next tool I'm going to talk about, actually we'll come to this afterwards because it's not this annotate tool is more likely for notes or marking stuff, so we are going to look at this last. One of the most important thing here is this measuring tool. So it's pretty simple. You just take a line, you just take a point, right click and drag. This might not come as a straight line, so what you want to do is hold the particular axis and then it can be perfectly measured. So this is one way to do it. Another way is you can go here and make it snap to vertex. Then what you can do is click on control, and you can see a circle comes right here. So click there and go right to the other vertex, so perfectly measures from the distance between each vertexes. So this is one of this. Another way you can do is let's take something else. For example, I'll delete this. I'll also delete this. By the way, if you want to delete it, you can just click on the segment and X. So now we are going to add a plane. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to so now let's take our measuring tool from here to somewhere here, and I'm going to click in here middle. I'm going to snap it right here. So now I also have what angle this triangle is. So what you have to do is you just have to click in somewhere in the middle of this. You just select in the middle of this thing, and then you can just bring it out. Now it doesn't work on this the first created line, so I think you have to make another line. Let me see. Let's try again. It's like this, and while selection only you have to do it, I guess. There it is. Okay, so the next tool is extrude. Let's create a cube, and you all know how extrude works. You select this part or the particular face you want. You either hit E to extrude, or you can do this with a gizmo. But this is not all. Actually, there are four other variations of extrude available in this. So let's go to extrude manifold. So what does this feature does, this is one of the really great tools. So when you select any edge or face and you do extrude, you can see it did not actually extrude it but kindly moved it up. So what it does actually is, let me show you a better example. I'll just, okay, let's go to selection, select this, extrude, and I'll just extrude it up, but you'll say that I have just moved it. So what it actually does is, whenever you are extruding the polish, it actually deletes the existing edges, and as per your new extrusion it creates new edges. If this is confusing for you, I'll show you one more example. Okay, let's select this too. Okay, so as you can see, we've selected this too, right? Okay, and now I'll select this and move it down, something like, let's bring it up to here. Okay, so now you can see is, this is a whole face, and this both lines are actually slide accordingly. There is still, yeah, I thought there was some double X. Okay, so as you can see, it is very clean job, and it is most likely it is actually, I think, really easy to move multiple edge lines and vertices. So this is also a great tool. So let's see the extrude along normals. I think many of you know this, but for those who don't know, this tool extrudes the faces according to the selected normals. As you can see, let's take a simpler example. Let's take like a sphere. Yeah. So let's select these parts. No, let's take separate parts. So each of these faces is actually facing very different normals. So this one is going up, this one is going in y-axis, this one is something going into x-axis. So after the selection, when you pull extrude, it follows the the path, the face direction of the selected face, and it just extrudes it into a straight line. So that is it for this. Extrude individual is also kind of the same thing, but this one is one of my favorite. Just see what happens. Now it might look stupid, but I'll show you a better example. So let's take a cube, and for this you can't actually work with perspective mode, so you can just hit 5 to go in orthographic mode, and just select one of the face and select this one, extrude to cursor, and just click on anywhere, and you can see it follows the existing line. Isn't this cool? 4 years and I did not know this tool was here. It is a pretty good tool. You can model things in a faster manner. And let's delete this cube, add a new cube. Okay, and if you have the whole cube selected, you can just create many duplicates of it. but that is not what we wanted. Let's create a cube. I want to select only the face of this cube, and let's go here, and now you can see it is really great for modeling something, road or something like that. It is a perfect cube. The only problem with this is you can't move the selected line in any direction. You just have to go along with it, you know. Something like that. Let's move on forward with other tools. Let's create a cube here. I think everyone knows inside faces what this is. Select this, then you insert. So there are many other options you can use with this. First is outset, and you can see it will do a reverse of inset. So inset is when you create a polygon inside a polygon, something like that. But here you can see this has created an other polygon separation outside of the main selection. So that is one, and the next is individual. So if if you want to let me turn this what so I think you have to turn it off here also and here also, which really does not make sense. It's probably a bug or something. So be aware of these settings here also and here also. Okay, so if you want to insert this face, oh my god, let's do this here, offset even, oh my god. Okay, offset even. So but you don't want these faces to insert together. You actually want a face separate here and a face separate here. So how do you do it? Well, you select the both of the faces, hit on individual. So now Blender will see like insert each face on a individual level, this one separately and this one. So it will separately create two faces and create a border right here. So that is it actually. And just remember the settings over here and the other settings over here also. Level is again the same thing, same although I'll show you one example how you can use bevel better. So let's select this line. Okay, so if you're having any case like where you are getting this type of clipping or geometry crashing, so it is telling you that your geometry it is you have gone too wide, so that is going to collide with each other, and you can see it's actually inverting and giving you the effect. So what you can do is to stop that, you can just hit C, and it will merge the last points on the collection on the object, and you can see creates a triangle. So C is actually for clamping the values. It clamps the value, and it works perfectly. Another example I want to give you is when you hit a bevel, you get a small drop down menu here, which is really really awesome. So first thing I want to go is the width. So width is how much bevel did you have added. Okay, and if you want to change it after the operation you have done, you can always go here and check. You can adjust this value, the scale of the bevel. Then you can also see how many segments you have added. You can always decrease or increase, but the most important and my favorite part is this shape. So many a times I have seen people add a cube, and then they have to subdivide it, so they add edge loops at you know uh, edge loop at every corner to make your borders straight. So what you can do, you can just click on the shape and set it to 1. See, we don't need this many segments, also 2 will do fine. Actually 1 will do fine, I guess. No, 3 is going to work fine. And you can also let me, okay, let's do something like this. You can also invert the bevel, what you have done. You can create edges like this. It visually controls the shape, and you can see you have added a nice chamfer in between. Now when you subdivide, you can see it resembles right here. That is one of those things. Let's add another cube. Edge loops. Okay. Oh, so by default you have this selection, loop cut selection, and you can see it is same as you do Control R. So what features does the other thing offset edge loop has? So offset edge loops is the same features when you get you know let me add some of this. Oh my god. So once you added a one edge loop, you open this selection, and this is the same settings which are there on the other you know loop offset. So let's create some 40 edge loops, and then you can play with this number, and you can see how it reacts. Factor is how much you can move this selection into a particular direction. Set one spoon, 40. It's for the smoothness. And there are also many type of selection you can use. So you can see it's quite nice and fluid. Then you can just hold control and scroll on this option. Any drop down menus on in Blender, you can do this trick. You can just press control and scroll down on the options. So as you can see, there are so many different types of functions you can do with this. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. I'm sorry I'm not going in exactly details or something like that, but I think you guys are getting what I'm trying to say. So knife tool, this tool is so underrated. in the whole modeling process. Is really awesome tool. So first is this normal knife selection. You go from A to B and you can press enter to apply your selection, and you can see it has created a, you know, it has slide this face, a single face, into 2 points. So what else we can do? You just you can click on this, and you can, before making this cut, okay, you just have to press C and enter. So when you press C, you can see it makes the cut on all the axes by pressing C. So C is kind of like making a edge cut in X-ray mode, something like that. Okay. The other thing is you can just press on A, and it will cut in a particular axis. So if this is 45, 90 in a particular axis, and you can press C again and enter, and you can see, C should be pressed before making this selection. Yeah, definitely messed it up, but I think you guys can do better. So let's move forward. uh, Oops. So let's go into the more settings, and this tool is one of the craziest tool I've came across in so many times. So you can just bisect this thing, and that is not just it. You can actually move forward, rotate your selection. This is one of the really awesome tools I've came across. See, just hit OK, and you can delete faces, and done. It is that simple. So let's go to the new tools, and I have a problem understanding what this tool is really, and it's called polybuild, and something like extrude this thing, extrude to. This tool is really helpful for anyone who is doing character modeling and remeshing all the time. This is really helpful. See, so once you have created any object, you will see a blue line hovering over the object, over the edges. What you can do is you can just pull this out, nothing else. Just pull this out and you're good to go. And when you see this blue point hovering over a vertex, you can just pull it out and move this. How crazy it is. Once you another way, if you want to delete a particular selection, you can just press on shift, and you can just click on that red selected one, and it goes delete. So that is one of the crazy tool. Another tool I want to show you is duplicates, and this is something I use all the time. It is awesome. So let's create a cylinder. Let's bring it somewhere right over here. Yeah, something over here. As you can see, there is something, a blue curve sort of thing has been created, and you can either select it from this side or this side, and there are some settings, 12 steps. What is this? Let's try to bring this selection, something like that. Okay, so what this has done, let me show you this thing first. So you can see there is something called as steps. So what this, and it is, there is something of 9 steps in this thing. So what are those steps? The steps are actually, duplicates of this one circle. If we set it to 3, you can see there are 1, 2 and 3 separate copies of this poly, the selection. And you can so right now it's kind of, using the same using the instances, I guess. And this is the angle, by the way, and how much of the angle it has rotated. And for a perfect circle you always have to use 360, so then it goes right along the, you know in a circle. So auto merge is okay, I'll explain you this. So as you can see, one of our cylinders has disappeared. Well, it is not disappeared, it is overlapping the original cylinder, because the position of this, the first cylinder, and hence we have used a 360 rotation. The last this thing is exactly on the last cylinder location is exactly on the location of the first cylinder. So we can add so much, but the first and the last will be always the same. So blender knows this, and that's why they have given us the option of auto merge. The first and the last will merge automatically. And also use duplicates is one of the better. Let me just, okay, so why is this? Okay, for some reason this is not working. Okay, so you can also do this, and one easy way I'll show you to create a pipe sort of thing. Just get a circle, scale it a bit. Okay, extrude something like this. Now you see this part, the last corner of this point. You can just bring your cursor to this point. You can select, just select these points, go into your spin tool, and now you can see this is we've been making our selections on z-axis. Let's turn it to x-axis, and then you can make something like this. Now for this we have to make our selection to 90 degrees, and so many, yeah, this much is enough. And as you can see, we have created a pipe, seamless pipe, which is so much better than what we normally make. So as you can see, it's beautiful, easy to unwrap. That's the most important part actually. This thing is really easy to unwrap. You might face some issues right over here, but it is really quick and easy. So this is it actually for this. Let's bring our cursor back down, cube, scale this down, something like that. Too low actually. Let's stick to 1 meter only. So our next tool is this smooth and flatten angles actually, which is I don't know how many people will use this, but so let's add some of those edge loops, and we have selected this smooth option. So as you can see, it kinds of squeezes in, squeezes out the vertices. Actually, you can see the vertices are moving, not the edges, and that is a big thing actually. Let me show you in, yeah. Okay, there's another option where you can randomize this action, which is actually great for giving randomization to same object, maybe a fruit, or maybe any organic item you want to do, which you have modeled, and you can just give a slight bit of these things, and you are ready to go. Edge slide, I think everyone know. Vertex slide is also everyone knows. So we are going to move forward on this push and pull. So what does this do? It is the same thing as the other. This one is randomized. It does the same thing, but it also has some other features too. So this one is actually great. Shear. What does this help with is you can create create something on a. First, I'll show you the second option. It's to spear. So it so once you have selected the you should have select the entire cube. I can just slide it right, and you can see it goes into the shape of a spear. So that is one thing. I'll show you the others. The first part, you can create a good shape, like something like this, without damaging the edge loops or anything. So this is one of the for something like this you can do for windows or quiz, something like that you can do with this. The only good point for this is you can actually create so much of this. Like, I don't really find this tool helpful. You can easily do this, and it will be the same thing. And here you get to decide what the pivot point is and everything. So, but it is there, and might more be of more might be of more useful for you than me. So that is that. And the last one is this rip region. So what this tool does is you can actually just select this vertex and move out. It just deletes the connection between two vertices or one vertices and make it two. But the most important thing I love about this is, just wait and watch. Okay, I've make a loop cut over here and made a selection. Then I'll go to rip edges, G. Okay, sorry. So select this. I'll just come down. Okay. I think it's this. So you can just make a separate two of the objects from a selection. The edge is, I think, the same thing. You can just separate a edge. yeah, you can just extrude edge, but I don't find this edge option very useful, but represion is definitely one of the good tools. Okay, so that was it actually, guys. I hope you have understand anything from this. I went really fast and with no details actually, because I had a very small amount of time to make these videos. And this there is one more tool actually I forgot to tell you. You can just create any object, snap it right over here. Most people don't. I have not seen many people use this, because it is just adding some objects over the surface, which you can actually do it in a different mode. I don't find this very helpful. uh, but the cage and this extrude and the spin tools, poly building tools, these are really helpful tools, and I advise you to use these tools in your workflow. It's just going to help you to build your models so fast and so easily. You will notice the you can you can notice the speed of how fast you can model or do anything. So good. And what else there? Okay, so one of the most important thing I totally forgot to tell you about, you don't have to go in here and always create or select this. You can do it from right over here. Just press shift space and you get your all the tools right here. You can just you know select, or you can just hit bevel, something like that. This itself, the selection part is itself one of the good tools I believe, and this option is really helpful, so use it. And let me know what type of video can I make to help you, anything related to tools or modeling workflow. Recently I've been going live on I've been working on a project which involves some simulations, and I was like, why not share it on YouTube? So I was going live on those streams. That was not anything something like a proper way to do it, but proper way to do it in sense like I was not exactly doing what I wanted, but it was more about trying different things and figuring out what will look good. So it was a bit a longer duration video, but it had everything, most of the part covered in those videos. So if you like that thing, the live, you can you can just comment it down, and I can do that more, going on live, because I actually like you know doing those stuff live. And you can ask me questions over there, and I can help you with a lot of things. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you have learned something from it, and we'll meet in a new video. Okay, till then, thank you.